Comrade, accept the challenge of Russian kettlebell lifting. Kettlebell lifting, the favorite sport of the Russian military, delivers strength, endurance, and enables you to lose weight without the dishonor of dieting and aerobics. This is not your everyday workout. This is not your spinning class. This is for comrades who like it tough, somewhat dangerous, superbly effective. The Russian Kettlebell Challenge. Comrade, start getting to know your kettlebell with a two-arm swing, which sets the tone for all the future pulling exercises. As you see, you pick up the kettlebell while keeping the weight on your heels. That's really important, on your heels. And you must keep your back straight. You look straight ahead. You do not look down. And you start swinging it. And as you're swinging it, make a point that you're using the hip action to swing it. The hip action. Synchronize your breathing with your movement. Eventually try to swing it higher. Try to project it at your waist level. Or higher. That was the two-arm swing. Once you've gotten the hang of the two-arm swing, once you feel you got the balance down, you're not keeling over anymore, and you can pull the weight fairly high, you can practice the one-arm swing. The clean is a way of bringing the weight to your shoulder without hurting yourself with the ballistic shock. When you do this, make a point of dipping your knees under to absorb the shock. Make a point of letting your air be compressed. When some air gets knocked out, you have extra shock absorption. And do not lean back. Roll. Comrade, the one-arm snatch is a part of the official Russian military kettlebell competition. If you do enough of those, not only shall you work your grip and the entire backside, your hamstrings, your glutes, your back, you'll also throw up a lung in the process. The one-arm snatch is a combination of the one-arm swing and the one-arm clean. As you're swinging the weight overhead and it's reaching about this point, you're dipping under and letting your wrist flick and absorb the weight. Make a point during your one-arm snatches and your cleans that your wrist does not bend backward. So you really want to hold the weight like this, or hold it fairly tight. That's just to protect your wrist. You pick up the weight off the floor, you swing it back slightly, you snap your hips through the way you've done it for the swing, this way. you dip under, absorb the weight. Then you take a breath, push your butt back, let the weight fall. One way to make your snatches more evil is to do the extended snatch, standing on 2 blocks. Observe, comrade. You can make your cleans and snatches more difficult if you perform in the dead weight fashion. That is, rip the weight off the floor without any pre-swing. Obviously, to succeed in this lift, you must contract, tense up your body very intensely before you perform it to build up the force to rip that weight off. You can also drop it and catch it in one spot. It's also a very good workout. You can also perform the dead weight clean from the floor or from hang. From hang, it'll be like this. There is no momentum, no inertia. The under the knee pass is an unusual midsection drill. Make sure not to hold your breath and breathe in sync with the movement, like in all other kettlebell drills, and make sure to keep your back straight. Observe, comrade. Comrade, the push press is like the military press, but with slight assistance from your legs. Observe. Note how I dipped my knees down when the weight came down on me to observe the shock as well. The jerk enables you to handle more weight than a push press or perform the drill for more repetitions. While the push press involves only one knee dip and then you send the weight all the way up. In the jerk, make one knee dip, you throw the weight, and before it reaches the top, you get under the weight. That way, you can handle heavier weights or do more reps. Same thing on the way down. You can also do it in sequence with cleans. It's really horrible. It's part of the competition with 2 kettlebells. Oh, this is fun. Comrades, the military press. Scratch that, the Russian military press. There's a lot more to the military press than pressing the weight overhead while standing straight. It's only possible to do when you have one of those Malibu Cannon Barbie dumbbells. They're usually color-coded. When you have something more respectable that you're putting up, you have to arrange your body in a way that your hip projects over the pressing arm. It's a lot safer than, say, leaning back. Leaning back can be hard on your back. Another thing you have to do is contract your abs and your butt really tight. There are 2 reasons for that. Number 1, you shall get stronger. Number 2, you protect your back. Next step, make sure that your shoulder does not come up during pressing. If your shoulder comes up, you'll never be able to press much weight, and you are likely to hurt your shoulder. So keep your shoulder down throughout the press. A very good technique that helps you to do that is imagining that you're pushing the weight. Instead of pushing the weight, you're pressing yourself away from the weight, but without bending your legs. Observe. You see? Shoulder stays in the socket. Shoulder stays in the socket. The forearm might stay vertical. It must stay vertical throughout the press. If you let it drift this way, you're going to have to rely on the power of your triceps, not very strong muscle. If you let it fall this way, you're not going to be able to complete the press. It's going to fall. So the forearm is tracking. You must look at the weight. You must keep your whole body tight, starting from your legs, starting from your feet, starting from your toes. Grip the ground with your toes. Once you reach the top of the press, you can pause for a second, take a breath, without relaxing too much, so you don't hurt your back. And then think of pulling the weight back down. Instead of letting it passively come down, actually pull it. Your other hand can be free, or you can keep it on your waist. It's up to you. Comrade, if you cannot tackle your kettlebell with one arm yet in the press, and if you don't have a lighter one, you could try to do the bottoms-up press with two arms. You lift the weight over here, and you press the weight this way. Watch where my fingers are. Keep your abs tight, keep your butt tight, like on all presses, on all exercises. Press. Pull it down, keep your shoulders down, press. Another drill that you can do to get your body ready for the heaviness of the weight, so you can press it with one arm overhead and strengthen your shoulder in the process, is the elbow raise. Observe. An excellent approach to work into a full military press with a heavy kettlebell is the graduated press. Once you put up the weight overhead in a snatch or push press or a jerk, you lower the weight just a little bit and press it back up. Just a little, press it back up. And eventually, gradually increase the range of motion. So it looks like this. Just a little. Just press it out, just a little. Eventually go deeper. Eventually go deeper. Eventually you can lower it all the way and press it back up. An excellent way to work up to a strict military press with a heavy kettlebell is the yielding press. You put up the weight overhead with a push press, jerk, whatever, and then you fight it on the way down while you're lowering it really slow. While you're doing it, make sure you keep your whole body really tight, your abs, your butt. Squeeze the weight as tight as you can and lower it slow. Keep the weight right here. Also flare the lat. How do you flare the lat? If you bend over and hold on to something like the kettlebell and try to contract your armpit, that's the muscle that sticks out. That's your lat. That's what you want to keep tight on the way down. A static contraction, or pushing against the weight that does not budge, is also a great way to strengthen the start of your press. You bring the weight to your shoulder, you clean it, and after that, you take a breath, you contract everything. You pull up your butt, that means contract your rectal sphincter, flex your abs, and so you squeeze that pressure out of your body while trying to squeeze the weight and lift the weight. It looks like this. Not quite before you totally run out of air, you bring the weight down. When you military press the weight, Getting it off your shoulder is not that tough. Locking it out is not that tough. It's that spot right in here that usually gets you. So if you use a lighter kettlebell and you pause at that spot without holding your breath for 3 to 5 seconds, you'll strengthen your press. Just hold it right here without holding your breath for 3 to 5 seconds, and then press it out. On the way down, do the same thing. Enjoy. The 2 steps forward, 1 step back press is an awesome strength builder. Do not hold your breath and do not breathe deep. Observe. With a heavier weight, you can just put it up overhead and work its way down. The military pump press develops well-coordinated strength. Or you can grip it like this. Don't drop the weight on your head, and make sure to keep the weight right here. The bottom-up press, this goodie, strengthens your grip in addition to your arms and shoulders. Be careful. Comrades, the following exercises work around the bench press. The bench press is an old-time strength exercise popularized by Russian strongman whom you call Yevgeny Sandov. In order to start the bench press and the following drills, you must have the proper flexibility. That's why we'll do the good morning stretch. The good morning stretch looks like this. Here's what you do. You stick your hands right here in these creases. You push your hands. You keep your weight on your heels. You stick your butt out back. You keep your knees slightly bent. You always keep your chest high. You always keep your chin up. Look straight ahead. Then you take the weight. You hold it. You exhale, go down. Inhale, come up a little, go down. First, of course, you have to get it up. Pick it up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. The next drill is the windmill. First of all, you must understand this folding through the hip from the good morning stretch and have enough flexibility. Second, you take the weight and bring it up overhead. Snatch, push, press, whatever. One foot is pointing straight ahead, the other one is slightly out. This leg is locked. Do you see how I just kicked my hip over there? You just kick your hip over here. You look at the weight, keep your elbow locked. And ever so slowly, and ever so carefully, you go down slow, as far as you can. Slowly get back up in the same path, and slowly increase the range of motion. The hip is kicked to the side. Go slow and don't twist. On all forms of windmills and bench presses, make sure to contract the glute very intensely as you're getting back up. That's your ticket to the safe and effective performance of these exercises. The next drill, in addition to strengthening and improving the flexibility of your hips, is also going to open up your chest. Observe. It is imperative that when you perform the windmill drills, you fold through the hip, you let your hip kick out, and you look over here. You do not twist in any other manner. You never lean back, ever. One exercise that shall assist you is picking up the weight, looking at your hand, kicking the hip over, going as far as you can. Don't go any deeper than you can manage. This far. Squeeze your butt, get up. Eventually, you should be able to get down all the way. On the other hand, if you're advanced, you could try this. Enjoy! The side press, unlike the military press, enables you to handle a lot of weight and at the same time works the lats, your armpit muscles, and your side muscles very intensely. So the side press looks like this. Note that instead of leaning back, as most people do when they press weights overhead and hurting your back, we're leaning forward. Observe. When the weight rests, you already have your hip kicked over to this side. And make a point of keep this muscle, your lat, flexed. Look at the weight, and then lean forward, just like you did for the windmill. At the same time, press the weight. You could also press it the side press way, lower it the military press way. Flare your lat. The bench press demands strength, coordination, and a cool head. Do not hesitate to drop the weight if something goes out of control. And make sure to practice the windmill drills and the side presses and the military presses before taking this one on. Observe. There's a lot of similarities with the side press, but here make a point of kicking the hips back. Make a point of leaning forward. You must be leaning forward, and you must keep this muscle of the lat flexed. Essentially, that's what lifts the weight. Then you do the same thing. You lean forward, you squeeze the weight, you look at the weight. You can bend the knee slightly as you get down closer to the bottom. You can help yourself with your hand. You slowly get up while squeezing your butt. You can help yourself with the other hand to lower the weight. It's very important the lat stays flexed. You see when the lat flexes, the kettlebell comes up. Enjoy! Comrade, if you thought the bench press was ugly, wait till try the two hands anyhow. The bench press, the two hands anyhow, every drill here, it's very important you perform it slow, very slow, with very control and patience. Otherwise, there'll be problems. The difference between the bench press and the two hands anyhow is you perform the bench press first, then when you're down, you curl another weight to your shoulder. you stand up and you military press it. Observe. And now, the part is scheduled for your kettlebell training. Comrade, train 2 to 7 times a week. Finish your workout in 45 minutes or under. But do make point of varying the length of your workout. For instance, on Monday, go for 30 minutes, 40 minutes on Tuesday, 20 minutes on Wednesday, etc. Do as many exercises as you wish. However, do not work them equally hard. For instance, on Monday, emphasize the bench press and take it easy on other drills. On Tuesday, emphasize the snatches, etc. As long as you do not emphasize one pet lift over the expense of everything else, do not worry too much about the order. Perform your drills in a circuit. If you emphasize strength, rest at least a few minutes between your sets. If you focus on cardiovascular and muscular endurance, you may compress the rest periods. However, if you do practice exercises that require great strength coordination, for instance the bench press or the two hands anyhow, make a point of performing them early in the session and take longer rest breaks. The order of exercises is up to you. However, it is a good idea to alternate relatively hard and easy exercises, for you that is. For instance, you could do 5 reps in the difficult military press, and then in a couple of minutes do 10 repetitions in the one-arm snatch, which does not give you many problems. Start your practice with the technically demanding exercises. For example, the bench press or the two hands anyhow. Never engage in cardiovascular activity before your kettlebell practice. The number of sets per exercise is up to you. Anywhere from 3 to 20 sets per exercise are acceptable, but they must be varied from workout to workout. Never train to muscle failure, but do vary the difficulty of your sets. For instance, your estimated best set in the military press is 4 repetitions with a given kettlebell. Some sets do 3 reps, other sets do 2 or 1. Vary the difficulty. And generally, do not perform more than 5 repetitions in various presses, windmills, and bench presses. It's much safer to increase the difficulty by upgrading to a heavier kettlebell. If you still have not received a heavier kettlebell, you may compress the rest periods, you may increase the number of sets, move slower, pause at different points in the exercise. You may perform your snatches, cleans, and jerks for any number of repetitions from 1 to 100. However, make a point of putting them in the end of your workout so they do not have the negative effect on your presses. Periodically, speed up or slow down the pace of your lifting from the comfortable pace. For example, in the snatch, you may speed up to your limit, or you may slow down to the point where the kettlebell almost stalls. In your presses, you may try to press explosively or press very slowly so it takes you 5, 6, 7 seconds to complete the lift. If you have followed another one of my strength programs, Power to the People, described in the book and tape of that title, in that case, follow the Power to the People cycle and then alternate it with a 2 to 4 week long period of kettlebell training. The kettlebell lifts I have demonstrated work the major muscle groups, especially those of the hips, waist, and shoulder girdle. However, if you'd like to include other exercises, for example, one-legged squats and pull-ups are the favorite in the Soviet Special Forces, then make them play by the same rules as your other kettlebell exercises. That goes for the abdominal training exercises from my book and tape, Bulletproof Abs. In an old Russian novel, two small-timers stole a kettlebell from a man they suspected of being a millionaire. They sawed it in half, expecting to find gold. There is no gold inside a kettlebell, only raw power, an android's work capacity, and the pain tolerance of an immortal.